Hello and welcome to the FPL Gameweek 7 preview with me, Holly Shand. This is a brand new video this week coming for the rest of the season, where I'm going to cover lots of great fantasy content, including my top transfers for the week, differentials, the team of the week as well, possibly a little throwback as well as going through some of the biggest news in FPL right now. And for Game Week 7, there's a lot of it. They're getting very, very close to 14,000 subs now, so if you can smash that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Let's try and get 500 likes on this video. And if you hit notify, that'll remind you when I go live for Friday's live stream, which comes at 12 p.m. UK time. Let's get into it. Now, at the start of the week, everyone was buying Brighton players, a couple of favourable fixtures before their fixture list turns in Game Week 9. But it's gone to chaos since then. We first of all saw Thomas Tuchel sacked as Chelsea manager, having had 3 losses on the bounce. Graham Potter has since been linked with the Chelsea job away from Brighton. So that's going to be a huge loss for them. That's pretty much confirmed now. And then we also got news of a blank Game Week 8 for Brighton and Crystal Palace. So Brighton assets have gone way down in our estimations now. So no Game Week 8 fixture for Brighton and Crystal Palace. If we look at the fixture ticker and the fixture calendar now, there's big decisions to be made. Those managers that haven't played their wild card yet, we're probably looking to the international break as the time to use it anyway. Remember, everyone gets unlimited transfers during the World Cup break. So the international break kind of provides a nice time to do it because you've got halfway through the season, the transfer window's closed. However, there are some managers now, particularly those that are maybe overexposed on Brighton and Crystal Palace assets, that are maybe looking to wildcard in Game Week 8. For me, I do only have one Brighton player, my goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. I do have Danny Ward's backup, so it's not like I'll be without a goalkeeper in Game Week 8, but I'm personally getting very fed up with Mo Salah and Gabriel Jesus, who aren't maybe delivering as well as they should be, given their ownership, given their price, also looking at other assets in the same positions that are delivering. So I'm very close now to deciding on wildcarding for Game Week 8 because I do think it brings us some important fixture swings. Obviously, Liverpool playing Chelsea isn't a great fixture. Arsenal have got Brentford in Game Week 8 as well, so their fixtures are starting to turn. So it could be a good time to hop off their assets and buy assets from the likes of Newcastle that have got a really nice fixture swing. We've also got James Maddison looking a good option for Leicester as well. So that's where I'm at with the latest news and how that fits into the fixture calendar. Now, the first thing I want to look at today then is the deal sheet for Game Week 7. This basically showcases the best players to buy, sell and monitor ahead of each game week deadline, and it's split by position. So when we look at goalkeepers right now, particularly now that Sanchez isn't a very good long-term option with that blank in Game Week 8, I feel like Nick Pope is the player to go for right now. Newcastle United are one of 4 sides to keep 3 clean sheets so far this season. Pope has also collected maximum bonus in 2 of those fixtures, and the fixtures turn for the better for Newcastle now. West Ham away this week isn't the easiest fixture on paper, but West Ham have only scored 3 goals this season. I think it's West Ham and Wolves that have scored the least amount of goals this season, so it's a good time to be getting on Pope, and he's got the best goalkeeper save percentage of any goalkeeper in the Premier League right now. In terms of how you get to Pope, well, if you're on someone like Edouard Mendy at the moment, he is a player to drop. We've got to think about the fact that, Chelsea have got a new manager, but Mendy missed out midweek in the Champions League, some sort of injury we've heard about. I don't know how much truth is in that or whether, he was just dropped given his poor form, but certainly he was looking like one of the best goalkeepers at the start of the season, and it hasn't transpired. Just 1 clean sheet, I think, for Chelsea this season. So now is the time to sell Mendy. And then Jordan Pickford was a player on my radar because he had a fantastic performance against Liverpool last time out, made a lot of saves, collected some bonus points as well. He's now been ruled out for the next 3 to 4 weeks with a thigh injury. So he was a player that could have been a good option, but now isn't. So we need to monitor that situation. Obviously, a big loss for the Everton defence, especially with Arsenal away up next. Moving on to defenders, and as I've mentioned already, looking at the fixtures, the Newcastle United defence look like really great options. And then in terms of where to go in that defence, Kieran Trippier, because of his attacking threat, his creativity, his ability to get goals from free kicks and also assist potential, make him a really exciting buy, particularly back in game week 6. He tops the charts for crosses, free kicks, corners and chances created, and that was across all players, not just defenders. So Newcastle are going to keep lots of clean sheets this season. They aren't conceding many chances. The fixtures are turning for the better, and Trippier is their most attacking defender. So he's definitely a buy at the moment, particularly if you want someone like Ivan Perisic, who played a lot of minutes midweek in the Champions League. He's got Manchester City up next. Now, I did make a mistake on my last video, and I know a few of you pulled me up on it, so thank you for that. I think I said that City beat Spurs home and away last season. I knew that it was Spurs that had beaten City home and away last season. I just said it wrong, so apologies for that. But, you know, we do need to be mindful of that when you're looking at setting your team for game week 7 and you've got lots of Spurs players against Manchester City and you're thinking, what do I do with them? There is still potential. Not sure for Perisic because I'm not convinced on his minutes, but certainly for the likes of Harry Kane, who's in form, he looks like a great option still. So don't worry about playing these Spurs players against Man City. And we certainly need to think about not being overexposed for that Man City defence, because I can see Spurs scoring, particularly Harry Kane. And Kyle Walker is one to monitor as well. Missed the Champions League trip to Seville midweek with an injury. I think, you know, given the form of other players coming to the fore now, particularly those outside the big six that don't have those European trips, I think it makes it a very good time to drop Kyle Walker, move off that double City defence, and, you know, double City attack could be the way to go now. Obviously, Haaland is now the most owned player in the game, coming up to nearly 80% ownership, likely the most captained in most weeks too. To get an advantage on everyone else, the strategy now needs to be doubling up on the Man City attack. Maybe with De Bruyne, who's probably the most nailed on, Foden, who's got a really good relationship with Haaland already, or Gundogan and Bernardo Silva, who continue to create chances and float into the box into interesting positions as well. Moving on to midfielders then, I got a bit of stick this week for picking out Alexis McAllister, who's really impressed me in recent games. Yes, he's a defensive-minded midfielder, but we do have to remember he's a bit of a James Ward-Prowse type. He's playing in a team with a lot better form. The trouble now, obviously, is it's a blank game week 8 for Brighton, but if you're maybe deciding to play a wild card in game week 8 and you're allowed to take a punt on game week 7 on a particular player, then McAllister is one that you could take the punt on this week as a 1 week punt before you change up your whole squad for next week. So that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, Brighton have been getting a lot of penalties as well. The big question mark now, though, Graham Potter off to Chelsea. What situation does that leave our Brighton assets in? In terms of the sell list for game week 7, for midfielders, Kulusevski is on it. Richarlison obviously has been getting a few more minutes. He got a brace in the Champions League on Wednesday as well. So there's too much rotation now in that Spurs attack to really think that Kulusevski is nailed on. And it's such a shame. We had so many great 8 million midfield options that were exciting for us at the start of the season. And as the season's ticked by, we've moved to the cheaper midfielders. I had Marcus Rashford on the monitor list. He's obviously been in great form, 2 goals, 3 assists, playing out of position. Really impressed in game week 6. He did hold his hamstring at the end of the victory against Arsenal, which did raise some concerns, but he's been pictured in training. He's expected to be part of the Manchester United squad for the Thursday Europa League involvement. So he was on the monitor list, but I think you can probably move him to the buy list now, given the information that we've got through, and I do think that he's going to continue to play that number 9 role. Martial, not quite fit at the moment. Ronaldo, out of favour. Moving further forward to our forward lines, Ivan Toney is obviously high on the agenda. Got his hat-trick last time out. He's the talisman of this Brentford team that's performing very well. And even though the fixtures are getting a little bit more challenging at times for Brentford now, particularly next week where they've got Arsenal, I think they can more than hold their own on current form, particularly from an attacking perspective. I am imagining that we will get a little bit of regression when it comes to clean sheet potential, but Toney could be a player that we're going for, and I can see a lot of managers for game week 8 making a move from Gabriel Jesus to Ivan Toney, in particular if Jesus disappoints in game week 7. On the sell list, with a heavy heart, Bobby Firmino. I think it's time to move him on now. Obviously, Darwin Núñez back in the frame at Liverpool. Not seen, some great traction from Liverpool in recent games, which does cause a concern. Luis Diaz, for example, played plenty of minutes in the Champions League midweek, so I'm not too hot on his minutes for the weekend either. We could see some rotation from Jurgen Klopp for Wolves at home, particularly after that really poor performance in the Champions League. So I think it's probably time to sell Bobby Firmino now as well. When it comes to differentials then, there's 3 names that I've got picked out. First of all, I've got Alexis McAllister at Brighton, particularly if you're planning to play that wild card in game week 8. He scored and had a screamer ruled out by VAR. So he's a really exciting option because he's on penalties. He's also on free kicks for Brighton as well. And he's having plenty of shots on goal. I know he plays a deep lying position, but we need to see him as a James Ward-Prowse type. Very young player as well. So lots of potential for the future. In the defender slot, I've picked out Sven Botman at Newcastle United. Obviously, he's not as attacking as Trippier, but he is cheaper. So if you are short on funds, it's a good time to jump on board that Newcastle United defence ahead of a great run of fixtures. And then another player going under the radar, another defensive-minded midfielder that kind of broke the stats last week is Leeds United's Mark Rocker. He was top for non-penalty XG in game week 6 with 1.1, having had 6 shots on goal and 2 big chances. Now that might be a reflection on his opponents, but he's in just 0.1% of teams at the moment, and Leeds United have got 3 very favourable fixtures in the next 4, including Nottingham Forest at home in game week 7. Forest have conceded more shots on goal than any other side in the Premier League this season, so he's one to monitor at the moment as well. Now, powered by the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub, I've come up with my team of the week for game week 7. So this is essentially a free hit team of the players that I'm expecting to get the most FPL points heading into game week 7. And I have tripled up on Arsenal because I think Everton at home is a great fixture for them. And we have to bear in mind that injury concern to Jordan Pickford really helps in terms of expecting goals from Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, obviously a shoe in there. I also like the look of Martinelli in midfield, who continues to chip away with the attacking returns and has kind of dodged points over the last few game weeks. And I've actually gone for the treble Brazilian Gabriel trio from Arsenal because I've also picked Gabriel in defence. 5 goals for him last season, already got a goal this season as well. And, if Everton are rocking with Begovic, they could easily be undone by set pieces, in which Gabriel, it really dominates for Arsenal when it comes to corners and indirect free kicks. I would have liked to have included more Brighton players for the visit to Bournemouth, but the situation with Graham Potter is a little bit off-putting for their players. Robert Sanchez is in there because he's been one of the top goalkeepers this season, 3 clean sheets in 6 games, and Bournemouth have failed to score in 2/3 of their fixtures this season. And I've also gone with Pascal Gross because I still think he's the top attacking player to pick from Brighton right now in terms of his goal threat and his creativity as well is something that we need to bear in mind. He took 10 corners in game week 6, creating 5 chances, including 2 big chances. Granted, Trossard has more of the goal threat, Gross provides the assist threat, but when a player is in form like Pascal Gross is, you just continue to select him when he's in this purple patch. In terms of other players then, Haaland has to be included on current form. 9 goals this season. He's really taken the Premier League by storm. We cannot ignore him. Also got Ivan Toney in for the trip to Southampton. I think that's a really good game for Brentford. And we've also got Marcus Rashford in there as well. Given his current form, Mo Salah has disappointed, but I think you've got to back him against Wolves at home. He was substituted around the 60-minute mark in the Champions League, so we can be fairly confident of his minutes this weekend, and he is in the captaincy conversation as well. More on that later. And as I've mentioned already, Kieran Trippier away to West Ham, who scored just 3 goals this season, is another great pick to make up this team of the week. Now, you will have seen the armband tentatively on Erling Haaland in the My Team powered by Fantasy Football Hub, but there are a few captain candidates in the frame, and we do need to bear in mind 2 things regarding Gabriel Jesus. He has scored more Premier League goals against Everton than any other Premier League club, 8 goals for him, and that's just a really impressive record, and that's got to be in the back of his mind. We know these forwards know who their best opposition is, and that's why we see this repeat of goals. And the other thing we can bear in mind when we consider Gabriel Jesus' credentials as a captain candidate is that Jordan Pickford is confirmed out for 3 to 4 weeks. You know, Everton have got big issues in the goalkeeper slot because their backup Longan is also out injured, so Begovic is the only option. They didn't recruit anyone else in the transfer window, so they're kind of stuck with Begovic now. Be interesting to see how he performs. So I do think Gabriel Jesus is a really good captain pick. Erling Haaland, obviously, we know how good he is. Tough fixture, but Haaland can score in any fixture, so that's something we've got to consider. And he did get substituted early in the Champions League as well. I think it was around 70 minutes, having scored a brace, so you know he continues to score in all competitions. Mohamed Salah probably got quite a good fixture, hasn't got the form, but we know what he can do. I think right now, in terms of my top 3 captains, I'd probably put Salah third, and it's Jesus who could potentially get the vice-captain, with Haaland getting the armband. But I would like to know your thoughts on captaincy as well, so do let me know in the comments who you're planning to go with. And I also want to know if you've got any dilemmas ahead of the Game Week 7 deadline. Do get them in the comments, and I'll do my best, particularly within the first 24 hours of this video going live. I will try my best to answer all of them. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please help me get to 500 likes on this video, 14k subscribers. I'd be buzzing to hit that target in this one, and hit that notify button to get a reminder when I go live on the team reveal and Q&A live stream. That comes on Friday at midday, 12 o'clock UK time. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this new look Game Week 7 preview, and good luck for FPL Game Week 7.